TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Florida Championship Wrestling. Talk about that territory.
Oh, precious Jesus. How did I survive? How did I survive Florida? Florida, 24/7 party. Oh, precious Lord. I know my wife's going to see it, but she already knows. I don't think we slept for 8 months, 10 months or so, man. I was down there with the Freebirds, you know, and precious God. And we ran the whole state of Florida. And I was there during the time Eddie Graham was still alive then. And that's where the first Pringle dynasty was formed. And I had Rick Rude. That's where Rick Rude and myself were first hooked up. The Missing Link, Dewey Robertson.
What year is this around?
1985.
Okay.
Early 85. The Pretty Young Things, Coco Beware and Norville Austin. We had Buddy Rose for a little while. He was in and out. And there was Barry Horowitz. He was Jack Hart. He was real young in those days. But that was my first real stable for the Pringle Dynasty. And,
he's here tomorrow, right?
Yeah. But Florida, in fact, I got to see him tonight as I was checking in tonight. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. I'm standing there checking in. I look up, and there's old Barry Horowitz. Jack Hart ain't changed a lick, still shaves his legs and shit. Bless his heart. I know we won't go into that. But once you make a friend in this business like that, you know, they're always your friend. And some of us, you know, you won't talk to for 10 years, but when you see them, it was just like yesterday. And that's the way it is with a lot of guys. But back to Florida. Florida was Florida, man. I mean, Florida's just like it is today. It's a party state. You got the beaches. You got and plus I was managing the Missing Link. He lived in a nudist colony.
Huh, really?
Yeah, really. He's a nudist. Him and his family, his sons were the nudist. And of course, Rick Rude and myself got invited out to the nudist colony. It's called Paradise Lakes, just a little north of Tampa. And I think they were really wanting to see if Rick Rude was going to be just as ravishing as he pretended to be on TV. Needless to say, I didn't take my damn clothes off. God, I'd have cleared the damn place out if I did. But Rick didn't take his off either. He stripped down to his bikini undertights. But no, he was a little bit too modest for that. But what a trip, man. It's like a little city and everybody's fucking naked. Everybody's naked. Little kids to old people, everybody looks naked. But we went back several times. We had a lot of fun there. And real good people, because I guess if you can walk around naked like that all the time, you don't have any inhibitions at all. And very sincere and real nice people there. And I think the world of Dewey Robertson, the Missing Link. He's a great guy, and I talk to him every once in a while. But Florida was just party. It just never ended. We just never slept, and it was just. And I had left my wife and my kids at home in Mobile, so I was down there all by myself. And for a while, I was living with the Freebirds. We shared a house. Jimmy Garvin was working in Atlanta for Georgia Championship Wrestling then. So his house was empty. So we had me and Michael Hayes living upstairs. And Buddy Roberts and his wife lived downstairs. And Terry Gordy, he was in and out, you know. And my God, just the word Freebirds. If you're watching this, obviously you're a big aficionado of our business, and you know the history of the Freebirds and what party animals they were. And Lord have mercy. What else? Do you want me to go into more details, or we can just move on to something else?
You can talk about the details of the Freebird parties.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My favorite Freebird story of all, and I get asked about this a lot, and it's almost one of those you had to be there. I don't know if I'm really have that vocabulary to paint this picture in your mind, but Jimmy Garvin's house, it was a upstairs downstairs situation. In the back had a privacy fence with a nice big swimming pool and big French doors on a deck that opened up into the main bedroom. Anyway, one morning it was early. It was like daybreak. I woke up and I smelled smoke, and no, not that kind of smoke. This was house burning smoke, you know. And the room was filling up with smoke, and I start looking all around. The house is on fire, and I woke Michael Hayes up. I said, I think the house is on fire, and I'm looking everywhere up on our part, and I don't see any fire there. I go into the bathroom, and then I open up the doors under the sink, and you can see smoke coming up from downstairs. Obviously, the fire was downstairs. So Michael, fuck it, Percy, go see what it is. He ain't got a fucking bed. They don't care the fucking house is on fire.
Oh my God.
Hell, Percy, go see what it is. Okay. So I go downstairs, and me, I'm a little more high strung than they were. Even though I like to party too, I was a little more high strung. So down the stairs I go into the backyard. I pass the swimming pool. The French doors are open on the main bedroom there, and the smoke's just pouring out of the fucking bedroom. And I walk up to the French doors and look in there, and there's Buddy Roberts and his wife sitting on the edge of the bed, sitting there. I think he might have had a cup of coffee and a cigarette in his hand. I go, Buddy, what the hell's going on? He goes, the house is on fire. Seriously, just like that. I mean, the house is on fire. Jesus Christ, where's it? Yeah, I said, where's Terry? He's around front. So I go around, and there's a gate there, and I go through the gate and work my way around to the front of the house. And this is where it's hard for me to paint this picture for you folks, but if you only could see this is one of my favorite members of Terry Gordy, who I love and miss so dearly. As I rounded the corner of that house and looked, there's Terry Gordy, big old ass Terry Gordy standing in the front, had a garden hose in his hand. And in front of him was this big lazy boy lounge chair on fire. And he's standing there with a water hose. And of course, he'd been on Jack Daniels all night. He's, Terry, what's going on? And I can hear him now. He turned around and looked at me and goes, oh, Percy, the house is on fire. He fell asleep in the chair in the living room smoking a cigarette and set the carpet and the drapes and everything on fire. And you just had to be there. And I'll take that memory to the grave with me. And we just had so much fun. And I do have a lot of stories, and I don't think it would be fair to tell some of them. Some of my brothers are gone, and I would hate for their kids to see this or their wife to see somebody in me tell some stories that I should be telling out of school. But it was Florida was Florida, and everywhere, from my days in the backyard, and my days in Mississippi, and my days in Florida. And I look back now through the years, it was just how I had that foundation that when I finally made it, to Vincent's company, that I was ready to make that transition because I had a damn firm foundation. It wasn't built on sand, and I learned a hell of a lot. And I still learn something every day.
What are your memories of Eddie Graham? Everyone says he's like one of the best Finnish guys in the business.
He was. Unfortunately, I wasn't with him an awful long time. Like I said, he was there. I can remember when I first started there and sitting in his office with him and Gordon Soley. I mean, my God, Gordon Soley. No better. Only Jim Ross. And Jim Ross is a dear friend of mine, still is to this very day. And Jim, he understands, and maybe he'll see this. And I've said this before. There's Gordon Soley. Jim Ross is right there. He's right at the hem of his suit. But Jim Ross is no Gordon Soley. I thought Gordon Soley was absolutely, because he's called the dean of wrestling announcers, and he absolutely was. And he was fantastic. But to sit there at that point in my career, and Dusty Rhodes was in and out, my God, I'm just freaking out. I'm a marking side, but here I am working for this company with Gordon Soley and Eddie Graham and Dusty Rhodes. And gee, I was going, oh, it's the stars, And I was just like a sponge. I just listened. I loved listening to the stories. And unfortunately, we had a show on Super Bowl Sunday. I guess it would have been Super Bowl Sunday '85. And the show was on Sunday. And when Super Bowl Sunday, we had the show in the afternoon on a Sunday. Because the Super Bowl would be later in the evening. And the show was in Orlando, Florida. So me and the Freebirds, and I don't remember who was with us. We had done the show. In fact, it was at the Eddie Graham Sports Center in Orlando. And when it was over, we drove back to Tampa. We pulled in the driveway at Jimmy Garvin's old house where we lived at. And I remember Buddy's wife running out to the car crying, saying that Eddie had just killed himself. So we were there when Eddie died. And when Eddie died, everybody in the world owned a piece of that territory. Because when Eddie passed away, they came out of the woodwork. And I guess, I swear, I don't know for a fact, but there had to be 20 plus guys that owned a piece of that territory. 5% here,
Right.
8% there. Everybody had a little piece. Hiro Matsuda, Duke Kimuka, Dusty Rhodes, the Briscoes. Everybody seemed to have a piece. The Buddy Fuller. Everybody had a piece of that Florida territory. And when Eddie died, they all came out of the woodwork there. And Dusty came in for a little while to take over the book, right after Eddie's funeral and stuff. And I'll never forget him telling me, Percy Pringle, I can't imitate Dusty, I'm not trying to. Percy Pringle, you're going to be a big money ball player, And I went home that night. Dusty said, I'm going to be a big money ball player. That just made my day. But then Wahoo came in. And Wahoo stayed for a long time. And I learned Wahoo saved my ass many, many times to sing.
Before you went to Texas, Luger was in the territory in Florida.
Excuse me, sorry.
Did you think you would ever make it, or did you see the writing on the wall back then?
He was just as horrible then as
Right.
he is now. Just as hard. He's a good guy. I've never had any heat with him or anything, but he just never. Some people folks have it, some don't. And the only person I can think of off the top of my head is Jim Hillwig, the Ultimate Warrior. Same thing with Jim.
Right. What about Kevin Sullivan? He was there in territory too when you were there.
A little bit. He was kind of on his way out about that time. We didn't get to spend a lot of Kevin with him, but since then we've become dear friends. And I got to work a show with him here just a few months ago, and Luna Vachon was on the card, and Kevin, and we had a blast. A real good time.
TitleMatchNetwork.com